So Poetic Cases are actually some of the best valued cases that I've come across. There's a lot of cheap, crappy cases, and there's a lot of crappy, expensive cases, and Poetic, they've kind of got this sweet spot where their cases aren't too expensive, and they work well, and they look great. I've personally been using the Poetic Affinity, Quarterback, and Revolution, and out of these three cases, the Affinity is my favorite, despite not being the highest rated in this group. Poetic Revolution is a tougher case with a screen protector and a port cover, but dust and handling are still going to be an issue. The Quarterback has one of the best edges on a case, which means it handles well, kind of, and I say kind of because the case is incredibly slick and it slides around like an air hockey puck. For the scores, I've given the Poetic Revolution a score 3.9 A's out of 5, the Affinity a score 3.8 A's out of 5, and the Quarterback 3.7 A's out of 5. As of right now, the average iPhone 7 case score is 3.7 A's, so 2 out of 3 of these Poetic cases are better than average. The last thing I would say that if you were to buy all 3 of these cases, it still might be cheaper than just getting an OtterBox Symmetry. So if you're somebody who looks up to change their case every once in a while, these Poetic cases are worth looking into. If you need a side-by-side comparison of all the products, check out my website. Links are in the I or the description section below. If you need a side-by-side comparison of these cases, check out the full review in the link in my profile.
Real usage, real reviews, mobilereviews-a.ca.
At mobilereviews.a.ca, Monty and I base everything we review on actual usage, so we don't review something that comes straight out of the box. And I don't pay Monty, I don't monetarily pay Monty, I pay Monty in blueberries. We do all this to ensure we can give you guys the best review possible and to answer the question, would we buy this product ourselves? If you're wondering what part Monty plays in this entire review process, well, he's the head of quality assurance. So let's get started with the Poetic Quarterback. I'll be honest with you, I'm still surprised at how low this case scores. I actually had initially given it a score 3.3 A's out of 5, but during a re-inspection of the case, I realized that it was a multi-part case, which adds a bit more protection than a single layered case. The Quarterback is a thin case and it won't add much bulk to the iPhone. This Poetic case fits well together, though the polycarbonate back will come off if you're not careful or you are intent on pulling the case apart. The hard back is slick, unfortunately, and will slide around easily. In terms of weight, the Quarterback is 38 grams, which is quite average for an iPhone 7 case. Now here's the kicker. Here's the thing that really bothers me about this case. I have a love-hate relationship with the Poetic Quarterback. The edges of the case are one of the best that I've used for any iPhone 7 case. It's kind of like the Ghost Atomic with the ridge along the edge of the case. It doesn't follow the curve of the iPhone, which definitely improves the handling of the case, but the back is slick. So you have great edges, but you have a slick back, and it just averages out to, average handling. From a protection standpoint, the Poetic Quarterback isn't drop rated, though the TPU will save your iPhone from an accidental drop, day-to-day drop. The edges of the case are high enough to keep the screen off a flat surface, and it will allow for certain edge-to-edge screen protectors. Accessing the iPhone inside the case is actually quite average. The buttons are very pronounced, which is nice and are easy to press. The port cutout is large and will handle gigantic headed lightning cables. One-handed usage is decent because of the ridges along the edge of the case and despite the slick back. All right, onto the Poetic Revolution, which comes with a built-in screen protector. It's pretty much a Poetic Quarterback with a screen protector. Now, I say that because one of the mornings when I was trying to figure out, when I was about to start this review, I was trying to put the front of the the front of the Revolution into the back of the Quarterback. And I fiddled around for about 6.5 minutes before realizing that I was putting into the wrong case. It was very, very frustrating and confusing at 6:30 in the morning. The Revolution is the thickest and heaviest of the 3 cases, but despite being the largest, is still very average in terms of weight and size when compared to other iPhone 7 cases. Everything fits well together as the TPU back folds over the front of the case. I do have a feeling that the TPU may stretch out over time, but because it kind of fits into the front of the case, it might not be an issue. Now I'm going to sound like a broken record because I have the same issues with the Revolution as I did with the Quarterback. The case has a lot of texture along the edges, which is great, but the back is still very slick and slides around easily. However, unlike the Quarterback where the front edge is actually rubbery, the Revolution is slippery all around. So you can place your iPhone face first on a flat surface and it's still going to slide around. When it comes to protection, the Revolution is the toughest of all the Poetic cases here because it's largest, but it's still not drop rated. When it comes to dust and debris protection, the Revolution comes with a port plug, which allows you to easily access the lightning port. This is something I can't say for the OtterBox Defender, But the plastic screen protector doesn't cover up the Touch ID or the camera, so dust and debris will start accumulating along those cutouts, which isn't good. You have to clean out your iPhone every once in a while with this case. Access on the iPhone is decent in the Revolution as the buttons are large, like the Quarterback, and easy to press. Camera and flash aren't hindered by the case, and the ports, again, is large enough to handle the old, extremely large Amazon Basics cable. One-handed usage is actually quite poor with the Poetic Revolution, despite the edges being quite textury, we'll say. The screen protector fits the iPhone well as there isn't a noticeable gap between the device and the protector. The Retina HD screen of the iPhone isn't diffused, though like every plastic screen protector I've used, it is a magnet for fingerprints. Some of you, if you were to get this case, may have rainbowing on your screen, but it's only temporarily. It only happens if I put my iPhone into my pocket with the iPhone screen facing towards my thigh. Rainbowing isn't permanent and usually goes away after a few minutes. Before we get to the last case, which is my favorite case, the Poetic Affinity, if this review was useful to you, give it a thumbs up, as well as consider getting your stuff through my links, as well. It takes a lot of time to do these reviews, and I'm on video number 3, and it's a lot of work. But on to the Poetic Affinity. Out of the 3 Poetic cases I have, the Poetic Affinity is the slimmest and lightest. The entire case fits very well together, and unlike the Revolution and Quarterback, won't slide around easily on its front or back. The case is different in terms of design, as the majority of the case is a solid polycarbonate shell with small pieces of TPU attached to it rather than large pieces of TPU with a bit of polycarbonate, which is the case for the Revolution and Quarterback. The case will wear quicker than other iPhone 7 cases as it is a clear case and will scratch. The TPU does keep the case raised so it won't explode in a blazing array of scratches right after you get the case, but it will wear over time. As with most cases, fingerprinting will be an issue. Although the Affinity doesn't have a TPU edge, Poetic has added bumps into the polycarbonate, which improves the handling of the iPhone in the case. Poetic was able to make the corners even smaller, which actually makes the iPhone feel thinner in the Affinity. The TPU strips on the case also help the iPhone stay stable in your hands. For protection, I would put the Poetic Affinity on the same level as the Quarterback, which is going to be slightly less than the Poetic Revolution, though the case itself, none of these cases are drop rated, so, you know, I would only drop it by accident. And if you were to drop it on a day-to-day basis, your iPhone's going to be fine in it. I wouldn't be too worried about it. The edges are high enough to keep the screen of the iPhone off a flat surface, and like the Poetic Quarterback, will work with edge-to-edge screen protectors. The corners of the case have larger TPU bumpers, so drop damage won't be as noticeable. Functionality of the iPhone inside the case is no different than the Quarterback. Buttons are great, one-handed usage is decent, and the port cutouts are large enough to use with large cables. Why do I like the Poetic Affinity so much? It's a great combination of a clear case and handling. Most of the clear cases I've seen are TPU heavy, which doesn't make the iPhone feel as solid. So that's why the Poetic Affinity, I always keep talking about it, because it's just an awesome case. It's $13. Like $13 for this awesome, great handling case. Like it boggles my mind. Like an OtterBox, you can get all 3 of these cases for the same amount you get an OtterBox Symmetry, which is kind of crazy. Symmetry is probably going to be tougher because it is thicker and whatnot, but you get a lot more choices with 3 different cases than one if you're into, you know, dressing up your iPhone or changing the look of your iPhone every once in a while. So that's all I got. If this is the first time you're watching my videos, I do encourage you to click subscribe. I produce content 2 to 3 times a week with new videos being released on Saturday and Sunday, and I do live streams during the week on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So do check that stuff out if you like live streaming or, you know, just awesome reviews in general. Thanks for watching. Hey, come on. Good boy.